Push.
There you go. To the NBA, and after going 1-3 since LeBron returned to the lineup, Luka and the Lakers have now won back-to-back games. They now just sit 2.5 games back of the Rockets for the 2 seed and face them again on April the 11th. Lakeshore also hosting the Warriors this Thursday and face the Thunder twice on the road next week. NBA analyst Danny Green joining us now. Danny, what jumped out to you about the Lakers last night when you were watching them play?
Well, both teams didn't shoot great to start the game, but what showed me is that they have the help that they need. Luka and Bron and Austin Reeves, Gabe Vincent and Dorian Finney-Smith, they gave you some looks of what they can do for that type of team. Off the bench, their bench production was really good. Obviously, it's something that's tough to do for every game in a 7-game series, but these guys can get you a game or two, which is all you need when you have that big three. So with how they produced offensively off the bench and then defensively, they played great. They rotated, they moved around, they were on a string. Bron at the 5 made some great defensive plays, but the others really stepped up last night, and I was impressed by that.
All right, we just went through what the upcoming schedule looks like. What do you hope to learn about Los Angeles during this final stretch of the season?
I mean, this is gut check time, right? It's money time. We want to see who's in rhythm, who's making their stride, and for them, are they going to get back to the defensive position that they were in 20 games ago before LeBron got hurt? So I want to see how well they pick it up, what the effort is like, and how efficient they can be in doing so with the small ball team. So I'm looking for them. Obviously, they're big three to score well, but defensively is a big key for them and how they can rotate and see what JJ can lift them up to be.
All right, Danny Green, appreciate you. See you back a little later in the show.
Thank you.
All right.
Always love hearing about people who watched the greats that I didn't get to see before. So at the end of the show today, I'm kind of excited, a little curveball, talk about Lem Bias. But we're going to start with the Lakers win over the Rockets, 104-98. There's a lot of notes and a lot of really interesting stuff that happened in this game. But where do you want to start with this one, Legs?
I think I want to start with some guys that played in this game that made me think as I was watching them. We know the stars drive everything in this league, and you need those guys to play well. That goes without saying. But then there are these other guys that are such a significant difference maker on a nightly basis. When they play well, I view these teams completely differently, and I thought each of these teams that played last night, Houston and the Lakers, each have 2 of those guys. And you saw it on display last night. And so for me, that's what kind of was standing out, particularly for the Lakers and the importance of Vincent and Dorian Finney-Smith. Yeah. Neither one of these teams are great 3-point shooting teams. In fact, Houston is they're not even average. I mean, they're a team that is anemic from the 3-point line most nights. I know that Ime Udoka is probably sitting there keeping his fingers crossed on any given night. Please, somebody make some threes in this game. The Lakers aren't a great 3-point shooting team. They're a little bit better than Houston, and they took too many, in my opinion, in this game. I just thought that for the Lakers to be up there in the 46 attempt range is not a good night for them. So you better hope some of those are going in if you're going to take that many. And Vincent and Dorian Finney-Smith hit 6 each. And I'm thinking to myself, with Luka LeBron and Austin Reeves, you've got enough guys to initiate the offense. They're going to do their thing most nights. They're not going to challenge in the Western Conference unless they get 3-point shooting at a high volume from their role players. And I think those are the 2 most important guys they have. And Vincent's completely turned his season around over the last couple of months. And he was fantastic in this game. They don't win without his corner 3-point shooting in this game. Dorian Finney-Smith as well. He knows how to play off of Luka better than anybody else they have. Finding the open pockets, anticipates the passes coming. So I thought, Adam, their 12 made threes really is why they win this game. Neither team played great offensively. The defense was there for both sides, playing hard, competing, challenging everything. Offense wasn't very good, particularly the first quarter. But the shot making ultimately of those role players and the opportunities they got to cash in, I thought was the difference in the game. And it could be the difference in the Lakers team. And then we'll talk about the 2 guys I had for the Rockets as well. But let me get your thoughts on that first, the Lakers guys I mentioned.
Well, first of all, it was 16 made threes, not 12. So it was even more, than you were referencing.
Oh, no, I meant 12, those 2 guys. 12 just between those 2 guys. Those 2 guys had
6 for 11 for Dorian Finney-Smith, 6 for 13 from Gabe Vincent. So you're right, a majority of their 3-point shot making came from those 2 guys. What stood out to me watching this game is, the Lakers made this move for Luka Doncic, obviously have the belief that they can go far, maybe even win it all this year, but it really was setting it up for the future. And when you look at this game, to me, it felt like a blueprint of what we are going to see especially next year and in the years to come, because you had Austin Reeves, you had Luka, you had LeBron, and all of those guys just beating. When you spread it out, play 5 out, there's so much space for them to operate. And there was great passing from both LeBron, Luka, even Austin Reeves late in the game, where they would get into the defense and throw these hard, like usually you're driving to the paint, skip it to like the direction you're going. You have 2 or 3 guys on the weak side. They were making these incredible passes in the fourth that were like driving and almost passing backwards, like 180 passes, because they're capable of making those passes. And when you see the spacing will be there. The shot making is up and down, but last night you saw what it looks like when the shot making goes in, and they just create shots in the clutch that are make or miss. Like those are great shots. If guys are able to make them, you're going to win every time.
And look, the way the teams are going to play them, and you saw this last night with Houston, who I've been watching Houston a lot this year, and they played a lot more zone, I felt like, last night than they normally do. And I think that they believed this is the way maybe to defend the Lakers. It's a blueprint for them. If somehow they were to see them down the road, you could see that this is something they feel like gives them a better chance to contain the ball at the point of attack rather than defending ball screens with Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, because of the challenges that represents. Gives 3 different guys that are elite level at getting switches, at finding guys out of that, at getting their own offense. So Houston went to some zone. And I thought it was pretty good at disrupting the rhythm of the Lakers for the most part. The game was played at a favorable pace, I thought, for the Rockets. But they just didn't have enough offense in this game ultimately. And they weren't counting, the Rockets, on the Lakers shooting like that from the three-point line, particularly those 2 guys. They didn't shoot a great percentage. 34% for the game is not great. They were 16 for 46. But they were so timely at the times that they hit those threes that it made Houston pay defensively when you absolutely had to have it. On a night when Houston played well enough defensively, I felt like, to win the game, their offense really let them down. And the Lakers were the ones that made the bigger shots when they had to have it in the key times in the game.
Yeah. I want to call out a couple specific plays. Luka had a hustle play in the fourth quarter to disrupt a Tari Eason three-point shot, ended up turning into a turnover. And it's the type of play we don't see from him specifically all the time. He'll make hustle plays here and there, but that was just a sprint back in transition. Like, he was out of the frame and he comes to contest Tari. Tari didn't see him, sees him at the last second and kind of just throws the ball away. And it stood out to me. Again, just like ramping up to the playoffs. Luka, obviously a great player, but doesn't always make those ones, and that one jumped out.
Well, I saw several times, and it's funny you said that because I made a note of that during the game, that not just that play. There were several times, even on a push off the defensive glass, where I thought his straight ahead speed was better than it's been all year. And I guess that's just a factor of getting into shape. Probably lost a little bit of weight. His wind is better. He feels stronger than he did when he first started playing with the Lakers. Even certainly in the beginning of the season, he didn't look like he wanted to ever play fast. I thought there were some straight ahead sprints on both directions last night for Luka. It's a really good sign, where he looked a little bit more athletic. He looked quicker, lighter on his feet, and not just as slow and plodding as he can look at times. So the other thing I noticed about him, I made a note of, I don't know, man, if I could think of anybody, maybe Steve Nash, who delivers the ball to bigs the way that Luka does, and how easy he makes it for big guys off the slip, the dive, when they're in the dunker spot on the baseline. His timing of his delivery and where he puts the ball, the accuracy with where he puts the ball on lobs, or even on throwing it to like Jackson Hayes on a dive, where he puts it so that for number one, they can catch it clean, but also they catch it in a place where the ball is not going to be bothered by whoever is rotating over. Luka has such a knack for giving it to them at exactly the right time. Makes the game so easy. I know at times Luka can over dribble, and you do see stretches in almost every game. There's a few minutes where you kind of go, man, guys are just standing around watching